Hey, I don't even remember which voice chat I'm in.
What can I do for you?
Oh, hey.
Hey.
I was just chillaxing. I wasn't, saw Landon was on, but that one is locked to me, so I figured I will, chill and hang.
Cool. Appreciate it if you stop telling lies about me. Because if you don't, I am going to start having to correct the record.
I think that's completely fair.
Every time somebody comes to me and they tell me something that isn't true, I'm going to correct it. And that is going to look bad for you.
Well, I think that's completely fair.
I also have... I also have the emails you sent me.
Don't tell me to shush.
I will shush you the fuck up in this room right now if I want to.
I'm listening, Dave.
Okay.
What more can you ask for? I'm listening, and I'm saying
Okay.
you're right. Holy shit, this is the last 3 conversations we had. You just lecture at me even when I'm listening to you, Dave.
I don't care, Nick. Nick. Listen. You have been lying about me. You've been lying about Ansgar. You lied to Mikey. By the way, the entire phone call you had with Mikey, I very much heard the entire thing in real time. I heard that directly after. You sent me emails in which you told me all of the problems Mikey caused on the show, and then turned around and to Mikey's face said, "Oh, Mikey, no one said anything bad about you. Prolip said nothing but good things." When you told me, but Prolip warned me about Mikey and how terrible he was. You have been lying, okay, Nick? You have been lying.
One at a time. Can I do one at a time? Because
No. I'm going to get this off my chest because I have been going through weeks of people coming to me with bullshit. Okay? Then I heard the shit you went to Ansgar with just the other day. More fucking bullshit. And I'm tired of it. Okay? I've always been polite to you. I've always tried to help you out. I still, even fucking a few days ago, had been defending you because I consider you a friend and I think that you're on some fucking bullshit and I don't know what it is. But here's the thing. Regardless of what the fuck is going on with you, you have been lying to your friends, about your friends, to other people, and to their faces. And I have plenty of evidence recorded of this. Of all your little contradictions. Okay? It stops today, and I hope to hear that you have corrected the record. All right? And if you're worried or you're upset that I'm pissed at you, remember that this is the reaction you should have gotten months ago when you tried to throw me under the bus, and I was patient and I was polite. This is the reaction you should have gotten months ago when you lied about some other shit, and instead I stayed quiet. This is the reaction you should have gotten. In fact, I should have went public about this a fucking long time ago. And this is your last fucking shot before it's gloves off. Now, I expect an apology. And I expect it ends tonight.
I apologize for losing my temper a short while ago. I'm not going to have a discussion with you on this set of circumstances. And as somebody who's a counselor, you should know that this isn't the best way to approach things.
Don't care.
And
This isn't a counseling session, Nick.
no,
This is a personal conversation with a private person who also tried to imply they wanted to threaten my business, as though that makes any fucking sense.
you went to Courtney and told her a whole bunch of things that were true. You told a whole bunch of things that weren't true to Patsy, and you told her on a phone call.
Nope, that never happened.
Founder syndrome, and until okay, well, listen. I'm willing to have a discussion with you. This isn't a discussion, so I'm
not willing to entertain your lies or your delusions or your paranoia.
Well, then we're going to have a problem because you can say these things, but if I'm not allowed to answer or reply, there's no.
No, you can reply. You can reply. I just told you. When I hear a lie, I am nipping it. I'm not entertaining it. Go ahead. Continue.
I don't even remember what my train of thought was.
Mm.
I'm willing to discuss anything with you, but this isn't a discussion. And the last 5 or 6 times when you said we're having a discussion, we haven't.
That's not true. That's not true. We were on perfectly fine talking terms. Even the last time I spoke with you, Nick, the last things that we were talking about was me giving you advice as to some other things that you could pursue because you told me you were unhappy with the current state of things. Okay? And we talked about whether or not you could do some stuff on the channel to teach people about writing. You didn't know if it would be actually a profitable thing or a thing that people would be interested in. And I helped you go and gather some information regarding which channels might be out there on similar topics and what their user numbers were. It was quite polite. I do not believe that was a lecture. And that was the last time we spoke prior to now.
First of all, while I am including that, I was actually speaking about 2 times before that when you called me up and said, way to slap Mikey in the face. You didn't ask me for my side. You didn't ask me. I said,
that was the same conversation, Nick. That is how the conversation about the writing started. Your memory is deeply flawed. That conversation about way to slap Mikey in the face happened the same day. Because it was the same day you took ProLib on. It was the same day I had to publicly say, I'm no longer supporting you. I have a very clear memory of the events. Clearly you don't.
I can look up the dates. I still have them, Dave. But you keep interrupting and you don't let me finish. So this isn't a conversation. Now, I have a different memory. That's true. And if you'd like to correct it, that's fine. But you're going so quickly over all of these things. And you really, as with that one too, because when you said, way to slap Mikey in the face, I said, and there was, that conversation actually happened over 2 days. And the reason I know is because the first was on my birthday. The first day was my birthday. Then 2 days later, you hit me up to continue the conversation, say, oh, by the way, I forgot to say happy birthday the previous time. And then ProLib was on, I believe, a day after that, but it doesn't matter. It wasn't one day.
It was one day, Nick.
Dave.
It was one day. I had never brought the topic up with you previous to that.
You had said, way to slap Mikey in the face.
And what was it that you would have slapped Mikey in the face for prior to ProLib? The entire thing I said you slapped Mikey in the face with was ProLib.
Oh, well, that was, yes, but you said that after I scheduled ProLib. It wasn't the day that we had it.
It was the day you went on. That's why in the thing you said, hey, couldn't you have given me more than a couple of hours? It's right in the email, Nick.
That was the second conversation.
It wasn't, Nick.
You're not listening.
No, it wasn't, Nick. There was one conversation. It was the only conversation that I gave you in that period of time.
No, it really wasn't.
Nick, I'm sorry you're wrong, and you're lying to me now.
Hey, let me get my phone. It's right on my phone. So let me go get my phone. That's easy enough.
You're incorrect.
Okay, out of curiosity, what happens if I'm wrong?
You aren't right, Nick. We never spoke about that more than once. That was a one-time conversation. It was the last one I had with you. Also, remember that time that you accused Onskar of masturbating on camera and told me that I was the first person you'd made such an accusation to, and that you wouldn't tell anybody else because by the end of the conversation, I think that you had agreed that, oh man, I was being silly, right? Like that you were wrong, and that you were going to keep that shit to yourself because you were being crazy. Not the only person you showed that to or told that to, am I, Nick?
Well, hold on a second. Wait.
Oh, well, hold on a second, because you said I was the first, and you said I'd be the last. I wasn't, was I, Nick?
I think I told Patsy, and that was the only other one.
No, Nick. She wasn't the only other one, was she, Nick?
Who else did I tell?
Who else did you tell? Think hard.
All right. Dave, May 23rd. The conversation started on May 23rd with you opening up, way to slap Mikey in the face. The conversation then goes on for the 23rd for a number of DMs and then continues on the 25th. I am correct on that, and I'm correct on a bunch of other things, David.
No, afraid not.
I'm looking at it right now. I can send you the screenshots if you like. I can send the 23rd is when it starts, Dave. This conversation.
Is that a text message, Nick? Is that a phone call? Because I didn't speak to you until the last day. That was the day that you had the conversation.
I said when you
it was a long one.
With way to slap Mikey in the face. That was a DM, and I said I'm checking my DMs. I've got my DMs. You're so fucking triggered. You're not letting me even finish a sentence, and you keep interrupting before I can finish. What I'm saying is, for those DMs, and we did call, and I spoke with you, and I said, listen, there actually happens to be more than one thing. You had no interest in discussion, and you're not interested in talking now.
I'm not really interested in talking to you when you've lied a bunch of times, okay? I don't trust what you say anymore, Nick. Why do you think that would be? Do you think that could be because you've been lying about me and a bunch of other people and to a bunch of other people consistently for months?
I haven't lied about you then.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I tried to steal in time from you?
I never said that to anyone.
You never once said, I tried to steal in time.
Nope, never said it. What I did say was that you had suggested, I mentioned, and then somebody conflated this and decided to get all pissy about this. I said that you had mentioned that I had founder syndrome, that what had to happen was that the show had progressed and naturally evolved past me. This is while Ansgar was still on the show. This was before the thing.
No.
And that we needed to have an order of succession, that we needed to have a whole bunch of other things, and that what I needed to do was step aside and share more. And this was right before Mikey started, but Mikey had been...
No, Nick. So let me correct this for you, okay? That's not what happened.
No, not until you start talking okay with me. This isn't a conversation. You don't get to come at me the way you've been coming at me, and then I'm trying to be reasonable with you, and then you say now it's time to be...
Do you feel like maybe you've earned this? Because I feel like you've earned a little bit of unreasonableness from me, as I'm a very patient person.
I think there's no way to know because you haven't wanted to hear my side from ever.
Okay.
Why don't you tell me?
I'm going to correct. I'm going point by point here, Nick, because you tend to be dishonest about things, so I'm going to clear that whole last bullshit up. Okay?
All right.
I said the following. I said that there seems to be a pattern with your behaviors. This was the final day, by the way, Nick, that I brought this up, because I brought it up that day and had talked and spoken with the other people involved, okay? And they all seemed to agree. Yeah, okay, this fits a pattern. Not a diagnosis, not a you have. Look, this is the pattern that other people are seeing. This is why they're upset with you, because you didn't quite seem to figure out that the controlling nature and the backbiting and all of the things that you were doing was pissing people off and having them walk away. I tried to find something that you could easily look at to make some small adjustments to maybe salvage and save what was left of what you had originally envisioned the channel to be. And you had said, oh, but the channel's fine. I said, well, it's not the same channel anymore, is it? Because it's not what you intended to start with. The moment you lost Ansgar, because he had already left at this point, this wasn't before he left, okay? I said, the moment that Ansgar left, the show ceased to be in time. You can keep the same window dressing, it doesn't make it the same show. Okay? That is what I said. At which point you said, well, I don't know how I would change it or what else I could possibly do, and seemed genuinely interested at the time in what those possibilities could be. At which point I said, why don't you do something about your writing while you figure it out? I never said that we wanted to take or control in time in any fashion. Okay? I have no interest in running a news channel, to be perfectly honest. I quite enjoy doing things on art. Okay? The only reason I agreed to work on the show in the first place was to help you out, because I considered you a friend. Now, as far as... I'm not done correcting your original point before you sidetrack.
No, it's the same point. You didn't mention order of succession or any, because...
There was none of that. That's why I didn't mention it, Nick. Okay?
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up, because I recall you mentioning that there needed to be an order of secession in case I was not available, in case I couldn't continue with the show, and that there were all these other things. And that I needed to.
No, not at all. That didn't happen. In fact, the only time that I ever brought up you taking a break on anything is when you had COVID and I found out. And even though I was annoyed at how you'd handled some previous things, I still contacted you to see if you were doing okay, and I asked you if you had people to run and operate things while you were sick. So I don't know if your COVID-muddled brain at the time decided to put some of that conversation and a later conversation together, but you have it damn fucking wrong.
Out of curiosity, so you were listening on my conversation with Mikey. Was that being recorded, or were you listening in, or what was...
But Nick, don't you record everything, even Ansgar? I'm sure you're recording this right now, aren't you? Why would that be a problem, Nick?
I'm not recording anything. I didn't record that conversation with Mikey. I recorded Ansgar, which I told you about. I also told Patsy, because she was doing HR and I felt she needed to know. I'm really quite sure I didn't tell anyone else, and I didn't.
Well, you told.
I know there seems to be this rumor that I'm what's his name, Red Frederick, and recording everything. But other than the ones that I told you about, which I felt you needed to know, also because you would be in them, and I stopped doing that. And you were absolutely right, and that was I was immensely wrong about all of that, and you had told me a few things about my own motivations that also made a lot of sense to me, and I realized I really fucked that up, and I fucked that up very badly, and I put you in a bad position. I apologized to Ansgar about that recently, and I still do, and I could apologize 6 more times, and it wouldn't be sufficient.
And I would fully believe you if it hadn't been for the fact that I know I said nothing about that situation to anyone, because frankly it looks really, really bad for you. 2, Ansgar was the only person who knew about that other than myself, as far as I was aware. But now, as you've revealed tonight, you also told Patsy, which you explicitly told me that you hadn't when you spoke to me, and that you wouldn't be telling anybody else, but it seems you changed your mind about that, or you lied about that at the time. And here's the other bigger problem. I had somebody else come to me and tell me about that situation that was none of those people, okay, who said that you told them. So it couldn't have come from anyone but you.
What did I tell? What precisely did I tell them? Presumably.
All the shit about Ansgar that you brought up before, trying to say that he was masturbating on camera, and you're really thinking you might have to get away with him, or get him off the show. It could be a serious problem. That definitely didn't come from me or Ansgar.
I'm sure that didn't come from you or Ansgar. I can't fathom it came from Patsy.
No, so then you talked to other people, Nick.
I'm sorry, what?
That means you've talked to other people, Nick. And you've said it was only me and Patsy. Clearly it wasn't just you and Patsy. Okay?
I would not tell anyone else for any number of reasons. 1, Ansgar's privacy. 2, I agree it makes me look worse than it makes anybody else look. I have not told
But anyone. You have done that, Nick.
I haven't. I don't know. I believe you that someone came to you with this. I don't know how or where it came from. I don't believe Patsy would tell anyone. So I don't know how or where it came from.
So if Patsy didn't tell anyone, I didn't tell anyone, and Ansgar didn't tell anyone, then how is it fucking possible to come from somebody else if you didn't tell someone?
I don't know, because I don't know what they said, and I don't know who they are. But I didn't tell anyone. I'm not, for precisely the reasons you gave, aside from the fact that I still really care about Ansgar, and I would not do that.
Well, that's a shame. Like, it's a real shame that you just don't know how that got out. Of course. Magic. Fucking gnomes are trying to spoil your life. Maybe it was Chesh's fault. Why don't you blame Kitty? Blame anybody but you. Because you can't fucking take responsibility for anything. Can you?
First of all, I just admitted that I was dead wrong on the entire thing. You were right. You corrected me on it. I admitted.
No, you admitted you were dead wrong on everything that you're convinced you were caught for. You refused to acknowledge the fact that you could have told anybody else. You didn't say, I don't know how that happened.
I'm sorry for telling the truth, Dave. At any rate, hold on, because I had buried all of this until you're going live in what appears to me to be trying to cozy up to Cheshin and Steve, and if you want to, that's completely fine. But you're sitting there saying, okay, yeah, I kind of used to also think, I see where Nick's coming from. You're the one who told me she's the fucking Joker, and you've said a whole bunch of shit, and I'm trying to stay out of it, and I'm staying out of it when you're already going.
Care to correct the context on that statement, Nick?
Sorry, what?
I didn't say that Tresh was ever the mastermind behind all your woes. You compared her to some kind of supervillain that was super calculated. And I said, nah, if anything, she's more like the Joker. She's into the laugh at the chaos and watch it all burn kind of thing. Which was not a, hey, Nick, Tresh is evil, she's the Joker. I was just making a meme comparison.
All right. So far that I have kept my mouth shut about all of this shit until you were going public on Twitter. I got pissed off.
Didn't go public on Twitter, Nick. All I said is you've been dishonest about some things. Is that not true? Was I saying something incorrect, Nick? I said something you didn't want people to hear, but did I say something untrue, Nick?
I'm done. No, I've been trying to talk. Dave, yes, from my perspective it is, and I'm willing to have this discussion with you, and I thought we were making a little progress. But fuck you, Dave. I haven't lied. Fuck you, and I'm sorry you don't see that, and I want to talk about Mikey and what happened with that, because I tried to correct it with Mikey too, and if you were listening, he said, did you talk to ProLib about me? And the problem is, that's a nuanced answer. The reality is, I wasn't the one who talked to ProLib. ProLib only said nice things to me. I got it from somebody, and it's a whole long fucking thing, but and then he's like, well, this is how I know somebody's lying, because you're stumbling. No, it's because there's more nuance. Sometimes it's not a yes or no. Everything ProLib ever said to me about Mikey, it doesn't fucking matter. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to discuss it. Fine. I'm happy to discuss it, and I'm happy to have a rational conversation. Dave McGinnis, you go do whatever you like, and you tell anybody anything you like. Don't threaten me. Don't do it. You do whatever you like, and I'm going to do what I like. Right now, what I like is to just stay away from all this shit. I don't want to cause you trouble. I really don't want to cause Ansgar trouble. I get pissed when you go out publicly and start saying shit, and when you start fanning flames of shit that I really am also trying to move on from. I didn't come after you publicly because it would have made things worse, and then you would have said, well, Nick, here are receipts, and I'm going to say, well, here's receipts. Why? So I'm trying to stay the fuck out of it. But I got pissed. I said, and then somebody said, well, gee, and Ansgar sent me this thing that, oh, well, he's trying to take over I never fucking said that. I did say, and I stand by my memory of it, and I stand by, and yes, you contacted me several times. We had a number of discussions, and in none of them were you interested in talking. We're just like, you slapped Mikey in the face, and here's how things are, just so you know. And I was just like, well, can I tell you my side? And you're like, no. And listen, I'm cool just everybody dropping it and staying out of it. If you want to drop shit, and if I piss you off, you do it. Don't fucking threaten me. So we're clear. You're going to do whatever you feel you have to. I'm sorry you feel that way. And I'm sorry we can't have a conversation. And I'm not asking you to be I'm just saying, dude, is this how you talk to people to try to reach an understanding? I don't think it is, Dave.
No, this is not, Nick. I've spoken to you in a way about trying to reach an understanding plenty of times. This is the way that I talk to somebody who betrayed my trust, who betrayed the trust of a bunch of their other friends, who mistreated people quite badly, who lied to everyone. And I'll tell you.
I agree with you on Ansgar. Who did I mistreat? There's Ansgar. You're absolutely right about that.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
Bull.
What did I do with Bull?
Treated him like shit. Fired him for stupid reasons. Let your paranoia get the better of you yet again. Then you lied about whether or not you fired him. You tried to frame it as though he had quit. I do recall, I think, was the content of the quit.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time.
Anyway,
what did I do?
Look, the point is...
What did I do to Bull? No, stop! You just said I treated people like shit. I'm asking you so we can have a conversation, Dave. What did I do to Bull? Because what I've heard Bull say, what Mikey said Bull said, isn't what actually happened. And I didn't correct the record there because I don't want to throw Bull under the bus. I'm not correcting it publicly, but I do have receipts on it. So I want to know what I did to Bull. You started with that. I asked you what. That's the first one you gave, and so I'm saying...
You blamed Bull for your bullshit.
What did I do? No, just... Could you give me a concrete... You just said I did terrible shit to Bull.
Mm-hmm. Look, I'm not Bull. I'm not the one who's pissed at you.
This was your example.
I am pissed at you, but not for Bull's reasons. So I'm not going to give you Bull's reasons. Because, clearly you haven't apologized to him either.
Why? I don't understand why I need to apologize to him. I don't know. I don't know what he hasn't asked for an apology. I don't know. I, I don't know what I did wrong. So if somebody could explain that, then we can go forward. But you said I treated him like shit. He's not. I mean, we were going to put on Christopher Mowdy, who I had never heard of before. I had no idea who this guy was. I tell Boo, he goes, Christopher Mowdy, Nick, really? I said, yeah, really? Why? He goes, he's the one who made the brass tax document, which isn't what I had heard before either. I heard that it was drag, and I had heard of the brass tax document. I'd seen it once or twice. It looked rather boring, and I didn't, but whatever. I was like, okay, I didn't know any of this shit. I had never fucking heard of the guy before. And so I was absolutely going to talk to Steve about it. I was going to mention it. Boole decided he's going to go to Steve first, so Steve hits me up on 3 different platforms saying, Nick, are you really going to do this? Are you really going to do this? Boole's producing for us. Now, if he's a professional, that means he doesn't talk about his product. There's an NDA. He's not supposed to talk about our production stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. You had him sign an NDA? Really? There's an NDA? Where's the NDA?
No, I did not. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I did not make him sign it. But he talks about being a professional, and as a professional, I don't think he should be.
Oh, don't wait. As a professional, I mean, you think that you were running everything as a professional, right?
Okay. Listen. He says he's a professional. He says he tries to run things professionally. If he's a professional, he doesn't talk about the back end of what. I'm fine. I'm a clown. I'm a clown.
So this is coming. You're asking people to be professional, coming from the guy who is sliding into the DMs of the one other female member of the team, then hires the most nepotistic fucking hire of a person that you're seeing on the side that's an old ex. I mean, Nick, come on. You want to talk about professional? That would have never happened if you were professional. Regardless of whether I like Patsy or not. Dude, you're not a professional.
One thing at a time. First of all, for the sake of argument right now, I'm a complete clown and completely unprofessional. Boole says he is professional. We hired him based on the fact he was going to operate professionally. And when he starts talking about who we're gonna put on, before we do it, before we're ready, and I told him first because I needed to know if he was going to be able to produce the show. And if he couldn't, great. And if he could, fine. But I needed to know, and then after I knew, I was going to have a talk with Steve about it, and I was going to let him know as a friend. I didn't get that chance because my producer decided to go ahead and tell him, and Steve's up my ass with 300 DMs before I've had a chance to research Mowdy, before I have a chance to understand. I'm nowhere with this. We are in pre-production on the show, and he's going off and told Steve. And in my view, that's a fireable offense. And since he was probably going to quit anyway, because I don't think he wanted to platform any number of people we were going to platform, that's what happened. And I don't think that's shitty behavior. I think when a producer starts telling other people who you're in pre-production, who you're planning on producing, I think that's a fireable offense. Now,
yeah, you know what? I think that I think it's really telling that you have a fucking criminally underpaid autistic person running your channel, and they're a huge big-hearted person, and you say you're going to do a show with somebody that clearly puts them into a state of distress because of past history, and your response is, oh no, they said something that inconvenienced me, I'm going to fire them, what a terrible person.
That's an interesting perspective, and I hadn't considered that. But you can also do all the whataboutisms that you want to. That, at least, is a discussion to have. Sitting there and talking about Patsy, if you want to have that discussion, that's a whataboutism. I can talk about
No, didn't want to talk about Patsy. I have no problem with Patsy. I've never had a problem with Patsy.
No,
okay. I have a problem with you misrepresenting how things were when you brought Patsy on.
But you let me finish. You are the one who, when I was talking about professionalism, you brought her up and said, talk about unprofessionalism, Nick. I'm talking about Boo. You're like, well, let's talk about Patsy, because that would have never flown, despite the fact she's a VP, vice president, she's an assistant vice president in a national bank chain. I mean, everybody here, there's some kind of nepotism.
I'm sorry. You thought that you needed somebody who can run a bank chain to run your YouTube channel. Okay.
She did HR and she was the business manager. I didn't expect her to do the YouTube side of things. I expected her to do a bunch of other things.
What you expected her to do is what you expected me to do for the last podcast you tanked.
Hold on one second. which was?
Oh, you know the fucking one that you were on that you asked me to come in and talk to people for originally before you started In Time.
I'm sorry, I'm now 10 minutes late on a live broadcast we're about to do, so I'm trying to finish setting that up while we're talking. So if you can be a little more direct, that might be easier because
I don't know how more direct I could be. Do you entirely forget that you had another podcast with another group of people before In Time?
Oh yeah, no, Veritas Voices.
That's the one. Thank you. Yeah. You brought me in just like you brought Patsy in when things started to get out of control. And a lot of the things that people seem to be indicating at the time, they weren't comfortable with what you were doing, and you seemed to indicate that you were in complete control of that show. But the way that you treated people over on In Time, I do now wonder how much of their opinion that, to be frank, I was a little biased in your favor, you having been the one called in. But
about memory, I was never in complete control of the show. Nobody was. I thought that was the problem. It was an even split.
Yeah, you wanted to assert control. Was that not what happened? You proposed creating a power structure of sorts. You said that you did a lot of the work, so naturally you should be in charge.
No, I did not say that. I let them vote, and they voted Lilith.
Yeah, they voted to stop working with you.
I didn't. Okay, that's fine, but you're not remembering this accurately. That's not what happened. So I was never in charge.
Okay, fair. We'll say that part was inaccurate, but point being, you're acting like this doesn't look like a longer, pardon me, a longer, bigger pattern.
Well, it may be.
Could be. Don't know. What I do know, and where I'm willing to leave it, is here. You can correct the record on whatever bullshit that's because I won't talk about you publicly. If somebody asks my opinion, I will give it without giving a whole bunch of details. But until I see some of the shit made up for, and a big change in your fucking attitude, since you've been lying to everybody left, right, and center, because that's what's been going on. Alright? And you try to smooth talk, and you try to persuade your way out of having people angry at you. And look, the reality is, I've been the one not angry. It's only been the last little while, the shit that keeps trickling back that is untrue, that could have only started from you, when I've said boo diddly squat to no one. Okay? Clearly you've been doing more talking than me. And the only thing I said is you've been dishonest. Okay? That you had a problem with Chesh? You told the truth. You certainly had a problem with Chesh.
And I can tell the truth too, Dave.
Okay.
No,
and here's the thing.
I'm going to talk, because I can correct the record too, because you know, there was a number of things that you said. Yes,
no need to correct the record, Nick. No need.
There was shit you said there that wasn't true. There
What?
just was. I'm sorry.
What?
I don't have it in front of me. I'm 15 minutes late for broadcasting.
Okay, you go do your show. Just be sure.
I may too.
I won't mention you no more. You don't mention me, and you fucking go and correct the shit you've been lying about. Because I don't want to have to start having an actual fucking conversation with people. I really dislike the position that you've put me in.
Good news, bad news. Good news, I don't want to talk about you. I don't plan on talking about you. And if I don't have you talking about me, and you were from last time, I kept my mouth shut. So I don't know what you're talking about until after those tweets. You started talking about me. I started talking back. If you don't talk about me, I have no plans on talking about you, so everything should end up good. That's the good news. Bad news, I haven't lied about shit. You're not going to convince me otherwise. I know you think I'm smooth. I don't give a fuck. Maybe it's nuanced. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I don't know. But because I didn't lie, you're a non-starter on correcting the record. So that's the bad news. I got to go. Talk to you later.